Hi, I am Merkaba, and today we're going to talk about my honest first thoughts of the Avatar Seven Havens official trailer, and kind of like potential theories that have been going around online, and then my take on them. So let's watch it, and I'll sort of talk about it as we go. Before we even start, I'll mention this Aurora Borealis thing we have going on in the sky, very much a spirit reference, right? We see these occur simultaneously with like spiritual power in Legend of Korra. So this is definitely telling us that there's some kind of high concentration of spiritual energy. Then we get our first glimpse of the world, right? We have these rock outcrops and these like strange rock formations. It's kind of, someone said this and now I saw someone online say this and now I can't get it out of my head. But it's giving like spirit world, right? Like the strange rock formations and the protruding crystals. It's almost as if like it's not like the typical environment we see in like the regular mortal world, right? It's very much more similar to like the spirit world. So we'll keep that in mind. And we also get our first glimpse of the character riding her spirit guide, her animal guide.
Why do you look like me?
Okay. So here's the bit that's getting everyone in a bit of a tiz. So the one who's implied to be the Avatar is Parvy, right? And in this scene we see her encounter someone who looks distinctly like her. And this is where everyone's saying that there's twin avatars, where both of them are the avatars. And this has actually been like a fan like theory, I guess, or like a possible like headcanon, I guess, for like ages. We'll see. We'll keep watching.
Lord.
Okay. This combined with what the guy is about to say is what makes me think that this story happens significantly like many years after Korra after Korra. So we know that Pavi is going to be the Avatar like directly after Korra, right? She follows Korra in the Avatar cycle. But I believe that something has happened to temporarily suspend the Avatar cycle. Or maybe even Korra was in like a stasis of some kind, like Aang was, which meant that there's been like a really large amount of time between Korra and Pavi. So there's a couple of things I have to support this. The most solid one is the one that the dude is about to say. But for now, we'll just look at the actual world itself, right? So this infrastructure and this civilization is like nothing we've seen in Avatar, right? It's like maybe it could be like Earth Nation, but like Earth Kingdom like design, you know, with like the walls and stuff. But the rocky outcrops and how it's incorporated and like the huge like canyons and stuff, and then this enormous like angular building in the back. We haven't seen anything like that before. So this has to have been created in between Korra, like the end of the Korra show and the start of this show, right? And for there to be enough time for that to happen, at least 100 years has to have passed. So
Korra needs to be prepared, because long ago our ancestors weren't. And the Avatar let us down.
okay. So first of all, the guy says, long ago our ancestors weren't prepared. And it's like, well, what weren't they prepared for? It's like, clearly they weren't prepared for this cataclysmic natural disaster that occurs, right? We see tornadoes, huge tsunami, and we actually see...
Ancestors weren't.
So this looks more like Republic City, right? We have a mix of like high-rise buildings, like skyscrapers and things like that, and then like low we've got electronic lights. We even have like a bridge thing going on here. This is clearly Republic City. This is the world that we are familiar with. And the narrator for this for this particular piece, he says he like is talking about like the ancestors not being prepared looking at Republic City. Now ancestors has to be at least like 3 generations, right? So that's what makes me think that whatever happened, whatever Korra did that caused the original world to change so drastically, like at least a couple hundred years has passed since that event. At least. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how the Avatar cycle got suspended. I have a couple thoughts. Nothing too, like, just like potential theories. Nothing that I'm too, like, sold on at the moment. But, yeah. To note here is that this. Okay, I said, like, natural disaster, right? When I talked about it initially. But this is clearly, like, this isn't. This isn't natural. Like, it is, like, weather, but this isn't like your typical like thunderstorm. I mean, your typical thunderstorm usually isn't purple. I think that there's some kind of spirit, magic, energy imbued within this, right? I think maybe the spirits are angry about something. Okay, this is the bit that everyone goes crazy over, and like the frame after this where she's like smirking, right? But I have a couple of points. I am a firm Korra defender. And I genuinely do not think that they're gonna make Korra evil. I think I just can't see the creators doing that. Because it would basically just like be like, oh yeah, you know that series that you loved, Legend of Korra. Yeah, like she was actually bad the entire time, like all this kind of thing. Like they're not gonna do that. There is the potential that maybe she's being corrupted over time. And the thing I have to, you know, support this is the white streaks in her hair, right? So it's like clearly a bit of time has passed between the end of Korra and this event happening, right? Because she's got some lines on her face, like she's a bit older. But like only some bits of her hair are grey. And like I guess you could say, oh, like maybe that's an age thing. Like that doesn't make sense. Like why would only some bits of her hair turn grey with age? Like that doesn't make sense. I think that it has something to do with spirits. I think that somehow Korra fused with a spirit. Maybe a spirit took over her body. She made a deal with a spirit, maybe. Something along those lines. And what makes me believe that is back in Avatar, the original series, when Yue initially has regular hair, right? But when she gets submerged in the spirit oasis and bonds with the moon spirit, her hair turns just like pure silver. And I think we've got a similar thing going on here. Not to like the full same extent, obviously, but definitely I'm strongly believe that there's some kind of spiritual meaning behind these like white streaks. I also think yes, I don't think there's a chance that they could make it that Korra was corrupted, but even then, I doubt that they'll do that. And I strongly believe that this is all just a big misunderstanding and that people are hating on Korra for no reason, right? Because we know from the show that they do that. And the fans do that too. But that's a story for another day. Let's keep watching. Okay, this guy, I didn't think about this, right? Because he's like an airbender. I didn't think about this, but my friend said that they got like evil vibes from him. Like they don't trust him. And I'm like, that didn't occur to me, but I can kind of see it. It is definitely a potential direction they could go. That's all I'll say. Okay. A lot happened just then. We'll get into it. First of all, something that I've noted and I'll point out now. Pavi and her sister, they only ever earthbend in the trailer. And there's a couple of reasons for this. I think first of all, it's to make it purposefully ambiguous as to who the avatar is. Like we don't know, is it Pavi, is it her sister, is it both of them? And I wonder how long they're gonna try and keep up that ambiguity in the show. I wonder if it's gonna be like a slow reveal to find out who the Avatar is, or I wonder if like right off the bat they're like, okay, like Poppy, you're the Avatar, and they're just doing this kind of ambiguity for the sake of like the trailer and the hype, right? So, there's one reason they've got it. The other thing is we see them fighting on kind of the city walls. It makes me think that um let's go. Let's have a look real quick. So they're kind of wearing a uniform of some kind, right? Like, okay, like that guy who's now being colored by fire, but that guy and the airbender, it looks like they're wearing a uniform and they're fighting these guys on a gate, which makes me think that they're like trying to defend the city. So the benders, I guess, are like guards. Maybe they're a version of the White Lotus. I don't know if we're gonna see the White Lotus again because they kind of fell off in Korra and people were like, the fans were like pissed about that. The mask. The masks are very interesting. I personally don't think the characters that we just saw in the masks, I don't think they're going to be evil. I think the reason that they're attacking the city is because maybe the city is secretly doing something wrong, or the city is hiding some kind of dangerous power. I don't think they're evil, and I definitely don't think they're going to be the main villains or villain. I think that they're going to become like they're going to be set up initially to be antagonists, but we are going to find out very quickly that they are sympathetic characters because they'd like to do that a lot in Korra, which is something that I personally really enjoyed about the series. While we're on this frame, let's talk about some of the visual differences between Pavi and her twin. So Pavi obviously has had a lot like rougher of a life, right? And later on there's a couple of scenes that confirm that. But basically she's more of like a wanderer. She's more of like she's more practical, she's more out there, she's been traveling around. And her clothes say as much. Her clothes say that she's definitely of like a lower class. But her sister definitely appears to be higher class, right? Like 100%. And definitely more, what's the word I'm looking for? A cushier upbringing, shall we say. And there's a couple other points that support that, but I'll pause when we get to them. Two things. It all goes so fast, it's so difficult to pause on the right moment. The motorbikes are a big thing that I'm curious about. Big thing, because they're the only instance of technology we see in this trailer, right? In the background of this frame here, for instance, we can't see, this is like obviously in the city, we can't see any lights, we can't see any like electricity or that type of thing, but we do see motorbikes, which is really interesting, and it kind of puts a flaw in one of my theories, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Here, I wanted to talk about, again, Pavi, we can tell already, Pavi is not a trusting individual, right? So we have this moment where her twin embraces her and she is like uncertain, she's shocked, she doesn't know what to do with her hands. She's like, maybe she doesn't even trust this girl fully. And we see a similar sort of thing back at the beginning when she meets the airbending guy with the long hair and he like offers out her hand and she sort of like hesitates while taking it. So already in this trailer that goes for like less than 2 minutes, they've already set Pavi up as this like, she's had a difficult life. She's more distrustful. Maybe she's been betrayed in the past. Things like that. Now, okay, so here we've got this scene, and initially I was like, is this Pavi or is this her sister? But this brooch, this hairpiece she has, if we continue,
humanity is not ready for the Avatar's return. And yet,
she actually seems to be wearing it as a brooch on her cloak, right? So that's definitely Pavi. That's definitely some traumatic memory that happened. Potentially, okay, potentially it's her being separated from her sister. But the thing is that Pavi has no recollection of her sister, and she doesn't, based on the trailer, initially when she says, like, why do you look like me? She doesn't seem to know that she has a twin sister, right? So I think given the age, it's probably something else. I think it's probably some other instance. Maybe she was torn away from like whatever family it was or whatever, like wherever she was, because they're definitely setting up this thing that the Avatar isn't trusted, right? And public opinion of the Avatar is so low. So it's a very good chance that she was basically removed from like civilization, I guess, um, because of the danger to her life.
It's the one thing this world needs the most.
Now, this title screen, we have this really interesting font they're using, right? It's very like blocky. We've got right angles, and it almost seems like, I don't know how to describe it. It's very reminiscent of like sort of like in TV shows or movies and in media when they depict like sort of like archaic magical technology, right? And I've got to make sure I pause it. Okay. Okay, I kind of got it. This whole thing they have going on the outside, this like border they have, it is so giving magical technology. I'm trying to think of other like media where this is sort of being like used. Um, if you think about kind of like the vibes in this is embarrassing, Sumeru in Genshin Impact, and like King Deshret's tomb, and how it's basically this really archaic technology, right? And it's not being powered by electricity, it's being powered by like energy, like magical energy, right? Yeah, we've definitely got this technological kind of fusion, right? And the red, so clearly this is like evil, clearly this is like a problem, right? And some people were like, oh my god, it's Vatu. I personally disagree. I think that this has something to do. Okay, so this, it's not really a diamond, it's kind of just like a square on its side. It's like a perfect diamond. It is so, it's basically the same as these banners in the background, right? The banners on the city. So there's a couple of things that are of note of this. First of all, the link to the crazy evil thing that's at the end of the trailer. Second of all, the fact that this isn't inherently linked to any one like traditional nation or bending culture, right? This is just like it could be anything, right? And it definitely makes me think that we're not going to see the separation of the nations like we did in the past two series. I think this is going to be like just totally like everyone's just living together in these seven havens potentially, and establishing these cities where like it doesn't matter what nation you were, because they were destroyed probably by Korra, they think. Anyway, that, and also Pavi's sister has that same symbol on her like top tunic thing. So it definitely makes me think that the technology and the evil is related to the city. And so the city is getting attacked because there's something evil within the city itself, or near the city, or linked to the city. But these people are like defending it, not realizing that the evil is actually coming from inside the house, the core coming from inside the house. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about here? We do see lights on here, I will mention that. So, you know, maybe my theory of the technology is like completely wrong. Again, the motorbikes are like an interesting point. I think, I don't know, like we see motorbikes, but we don't see any kind of like mecha tech, or like any of the kind of like nowhere near close to the kind of things that they were developing even at the end of the Korra series, right? So I don't know about that. The things will I say? The architecture, the music, um, yeah, the overall music and vibes I think is absolutely phenomenal. I love how um Avatar is obvious like the universe of Avatar is obviously a culmination of a whole lot of different real world inspirations. And obviously the ones that spring to mind when we think about like the architecture and visual cues from the original series and Legend of Korra is like China, maybe a bit of Thailand when we look at, you know, some of the firebending stuff, Japan, and a lot of those more East Asian countries, right? But here, um, obviously Pavi, like her name, and then the music that we've got in the background seems more reminiscent of South Asian cultures, which I think is really interesting because we haven't really explored that as much in Avatar yet. And I think I really want to see how they like go about it. I think so far it looks like they've done a good job. I also love that Pavi is an amputee, and I can't wait till I can't wait to see how they sort of like it's kind of interesting. I wonder if they'll either make it just like a non, like it won't even be mentioned, or if they'll make it kind of like you know how like Minghua in Korra, she uses like water to like um create arms. I wonder if as Pavi develops as a bender, she will do something like that because the fans love that type of thing, and I love that type of thing. I think it's so cool. Um, the other thing I'll say here, and this frame sort of reminds me of it. Um, a lot of people, like a lot of people, have been complaining online that the animation style looks like Voltron, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that like yes, it does, but it's like this is a children's cartoon. You know what I'm saying? The Korra art style looks different to the Aang art style, right? Like at the time, the Korra art style was more modern. It was more like anime-ish, I suppose. I personally kind of prefer this. I think the colors are beautiful. Like the colors are actually just stunning. And like the landscapes and all of that kind of thing, which looks like it's going to be a huge part of the series. Just like totally pop in this art style. The characters look really good as well. I love Pavi's design. Um, People say that it looks bland, but if anything, I think doing the same thing and just continuing with the norm, continuing with the like more anime style that Korra had going on, I think that would have been bland. I think shaking it up a bit, giving some more like, you know, some different colors, sort of bringing back more of that cartoon essence, I think that's really needed. And I think the people complaining that it looks too similar to Voltron, I think need to realize that at the end of the day, this is a kids cartoon. Okay, emphasis on cartoon, right? Avatar isn't an anime, even though during Korra they lean into that more anime style. It isn't an anime. It is it is a cartoon produced by Western directors. So I personally quite like it, and to the haters, I say grow up. That was mean. Whatever, I'm keeping that in. Let me skim through. What else do I want to talk about? Do we think he's evil or not? Do we think he's evil or not? I can't lie, I get kind of evil. Like now that my friend said it, I'm like, I can kind of see it. So, the place they're in is like ruined and abandoned. I find that interesting because it's definitely not architecture similar to what we see in Avatar or Korra, right? So whatever this building is, it's been built since the end of Korra, but abandoned before the time of Pavi. Again, solidifying my point that a lot of time has passed. I genuinely wonder how they're going to do that. I wonder if Korra found a way to prolong her life. Maybe by merging with the spirit, like I speculated earlier. Maybe she just fully entered the spirit world like Iroh did. I'm not sure how that would actually work for the Avatar, if that would prolong the Avatar cycle. But definitely like hundreds of years have passed. And there's definitely the sense from the dialogue that we get from the guy that there's been a lot of time without the Avatar, and that the Avatar needs to return, but humanity still isn't ready because opinion of the Avatar is so low. So yeah, it's interesting. We've got more lights here. Yeah, it's interesting.
Humanity is not ready for the Avatar's return. And yet, it's the one thing this world needs the most.
That's so cool. I actually love it. I love this trailer. I don't care what anyone says. I think this trailer is amazing. I think it's really good. Really, really good. Okay, let's recap my thoughts because they were a bit scattered. Korra potentially fused with a spirit. Korra potentially made a deal. I didn't really touch on this. I touched on it a bit at the start, but mortal world and spirit world merging. Korra merged them. Was it the fact that Korra merged them, or was it something that just naturally occurred after Korra opened the spirit portals? Spirit and technology combining. Is this like very ancient, like primordial kind of energy, or is this some kind of iteration of like the dangerous spirit vine magic we saw Varric utilizing? Is this going to be like a story of like the humans have been misusing the spirit's power and the spirits are mad about it? We shall see. Avatar has a twin, two avatars perhaps. Perhaps Korra, perhaps the two spirits within Korra split into two different avatars. A lot of people don't seem happy about that idea. I don't think it would be the worst, but I do think they should move away from the Ravavatu thing. It's kind of difficult to say at this point. And also just like I don't know if I like the concept of there being like an avatar like devil. I don't know if I like that as much. I know that the creators of the show really enjoyed that more like kaiju kind of vibes with like the Unalaq Korra fight. I personally didn't enjoy it so much. I personally enjoy when it's like more like a realistic kind of problem and like a sympathetic villain instead of like a primordial evil. And I'm actually not sure what we're getting at. We might get a mix of both, right? Especially since we talk about the masked figures. I think they're going to be sympathetic. I think they're going to be enlightened in some way. They're going to have information about what's going on that the rest of the civilization doesn't have. Also, Seven Havens is really interesting. Do we know what the Seven Havens are? Are the Seven Havens all different cities, like the one that we see them in the trailer? Because as far as I can gather from the trailer, this is all happening within like one. They're in one city, right? So I wonder if they'll travel to different cities. Otherwise, I would kind of wonder why did they name it Seven Havens? Havens definitely implies that there's some kind of like that these civilizations are like protected or like insulated, I guess, from all of the like magical spirity storms that are happening on the outside. But the end does make me think that maybe they're the cause of it. The end is really interesting. I do not think it's Vatu, but I think maybe it's even something like, ooh, maybe it's like the like diamond shape. Maybe it's like someone or something that they worship. Maybe it's like a power that they worship. And that's why the symbol is shown on the banners outside the city and on the clothing. Maybe it's like a new type of power that they're worshipping. But based on the end and the red coloring, which is typical visual cues for bad guy, we can gather that whatever it is not good. Anyway, this is all just fun speculation. Obviously, at the end of the day, we don't have too much longer to wait. All we have to do is wait until October 9th and we will find out more. And I'm sure there will be dozens of videos of people complaining or praising whatever it is they decide to do. But personally, I'm really excited, and I hope you are too. And I encourage you to just like come up with your own theories, share them in the comments if you want. Just like share them in general, talk to your friends about it, because this is a really interesting one. And I think I'm really curious personally to see if any of my theories that I've tossed out today are going to be right. I hope so. Well, for some of them I hope so. But yes, thank you for watching this kind of scattered thought process of mine. If you made it to the end, I'm incredibly impressed. I'm proud of you. And yeah, enjoy. And also, Avatar, the animated movie comes out tonight. Enjoy that as well if you're gonna watch it. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it tonight, but if you do, enjoy it and have a great day.